Okay, I was right. It is the 27th. I just didn't change the day of the week. So I am sorry. I am, like I said, not all here due to my allergies. It is Wednesday, not Tuesday, and it is the 27th. I think part of what's going on is I've been allergies and exhaustion from the allergies. See, one of the things I don't like about allergies is because when you have the type of allergies I have, which is mostly sinus, which causes all the other problems, you might have been in the bed and asleep for your 6 to 8 hour duration or whatever time you try to sleep. But then what happens is your difficulty breathing at night causes you to basically not fully or properly oxygenate your bloodstream, which then affects your brain, which then affects your how tired you are when you wake up. So it's so thankfully it normally only lasts a month or two. That's a long period of time to suffer with your breathing and whatnot, which basically makes you want to just sleep all the time. Ugh. My last video. Now I know my videos have been off by a day. I'm trying to rectify that, which means either today or tomorrow I'm going to put out two videos. One from yesterday and one from the actual day it was supposed to be put out. Um, the weather here has been, for lack for trying to be as polite as possible, um, kind of miserable. It's been either overcast and hot or overcast and cold. Yesterday it was overcast in the beginning, then cleared up and became sunny, which made it extremely warm. I think it was up in the lower 80s with humidity factor, which made it feel warmer than it really was. Um, it's been rainy it's 11 o'clock in the morning. It's been raining off and on since 4 a.m. So, and by the looks of my weather app and whatnot, it could be raining off and on all day into early morning tomorrow. I don't mind it, except for two different things. One, it's happening during the height of allergies, and I'm surprised my allergies have been as bad as they were or are, because usually the rain and humidity factors keep the allergens from being too bad, but no, not this time. I think the reason why it's been as bad as it has been, especially yesterday, is because of the quick warming trend, then quick cool. Today's high is only supposed to be around, what did I read, 75, 77, somewhere around there. Mid to upper 70s. Now, the trend that's been happening the last almost decade, basically, where it seems like summer is getting pushed further back and spring is being pushed further back. And this is the trend that I read about, and it was talked about by Edgar Casey. No Eyes Through Merry Summer Rain. There was another prophetic type person. I don't like calling them prophets because I don't know if they are prophets or not. But um, there's a third person, pretty recent, within the last 20 years or so, um, where he talked about weather patterns causing issues, causing basically what they all described as spring becomes winter and slowly becomes no, winter becomes spring and slowly becomes summer. So our summer and our winters, all our seasons are going to get flipped. So what's supposed to be winter will feel like fall, and spring will feel like winter, and summer will feel like spring, and autumn will feel like winter or summer. So it's going to be one of those. Okay, we're gonna see how true or how close or how good their information is. As some people might know, Edgar Casey was called the sleeping prophet because a lot of his prophetic messages or information would come during I wouldn't say a trance, but more like he was asleep, and he described things, told things. So it's kind of like one of those. Yeah, well, if you can translate and read Nostradamus's quatrains, hundreds of years before it happened, he talked about Hitler and gave very clear details. Granted, hindsight at the time of finding and translating his quatrains, you kind of go, interesting. But then some of Edgar Casey's stuff came true. So it kind of makes you wonder if the messages that they were perceiving and writing down um, were basically tools or hints to forewarn and maybe help the human race survive the changes. But um, yeah. Anyhow, sorry. I This is my brain on very little sleep and just barely waking up with tea. Work lately has been, I can't say rough because it's actually been fairly decent. Um, Last night I trained a new cashier. Um, what made me kind of wonder why I was doing it was because I found out that she's being trained to replace a morning cashier who I guess got a better job or is moving on. I don't know the circumstances. Sorry, I'm hearing a noise in my house and I gotta identify it. Oh, running water. Mom must be doing something in her part of the house. Um, so basically, I was training this young lady, and not a big deal. She either has previous experience running a register or doing something similar to what we do. So all I had to do was basically point out some tips and talk to her about some of the things that we do at nighttime to get the store ready for the morning crew. Um, My only thought was maybe I'm teaching her some of the basics of clothing, so if she ever has to cover for any of the night people who can't come in for health reasons or whatever, can do that. That and a factor. I was told that come this Friday, we are switching back to our regular. Well, we're no longer having to worry about Team A, Team B. We're basically, she can basically do whatever she wants with the people on her roster. The only thing we're not doing is staying open until our usual 11. We're staying at our 10 p.m. close time, which I'm not worried about. 10, 11, I still got to do the same stuff. The only difference is people might get the idea that we are open until 11 and start trying to come in um, at the bottom of the hour, basically. And I'm like, well, the only downside of that is the factor that I either have to lock the door a little early just so people don't try running in at 2 minutes till the hour. Which last time that happened, I didn't get rid of the people until 11:05 and still had to get my closing done, my final closing done, which by that time of night, it's basically the behind the counter closing stuff, the register and the lotto machine. So it's going to be fun to see how things go after this weekend. Sorry, I had a bit of a brain fart there. Um, Sorry. I I've been having some minor issues with not with people in general, but I know the last video that I put out, I was suffering heavily from um, my sinuses and whatnot bugging me. That in factor, one or two comments were like, sorry, I should have covered my mouth sooner. One or two comments were constructive criticism because of the fact that I use my handkerchief to wipe my tears and blow my nose within seconds of each other. And I understand what you guys were saying when you were talking about that. Yeah, I shouldn't have done it. It could cause all kinds of health issues. That in fact, it's a good way to cause pink. I think it's a good way to cause pink eye. Um, my glasses are crooked, or my eyebrow is messed up. Sorry. Then there are a few people that I was just kind of like, really. Um, it's kind of natural to do some of the things I do, and unlike most people who want to do this but are more actors or actresses in a way than I am, I'm a natural person. This mug, this hair, beard, whatever, um, it's all natural. I don't. The only thing I do to basically try to make some people happy is at least I groom. I comb my hair and brush my beard to make it look decent before I jump on here. Um, if for whatever reason the particular day or days that I'm being disgusting is the word somebody used, well, I'm sorry. Life is disgusting. The world around us, human people, are disgusting. Okay? Um, it's the way it is. Like I said, I'm an all natural person. I don't try to pretend I'm anything else. Um, so if I have to yawn, sniffle, sneeze, cough, blow my nose, wipe my eyes, belch, fart, do whatever is natural, if you don't like it, well, don't watch that video. Or just pretend it didn't happen. For the one person who said that they would never do that, I'm gonna have to say this: you're full of it, because it's natural. Put it this way: if a person were to hold in a belch or a fart for too long, it can be agonizingly painful. Take it from me, who used to try to do that back in my younger days. Now that I'm older, by 20 plus years, um, I realized, one, why am I going to hurt myself? People don't like it. That's tough. It has to happen. I'd rather pass gas than have a pain in my belly or a pain in my rear end because I'm trying to hold it in, and then it makes it worse. Um, I got rid of that. All right. It is coming up on June. Now, I think it's the first weekend. The first weekend of June, I'm heading for Ohio for my cousin's graduation. A little bit of a party for her. Um, it's a milestone. We all have to celebrate the milestones. Um, so we're going there to, boost her. I don't want to say boost her ego, but celebrate the fact that she got through high school. Um, I'm probably the only. Yeah, I'm probably the only member of the five cousins within the same age bracket that I know about, that did not fully graduate. I did not graduate in the sense that I completed high school. I graduated in the sense to that in the middle of 12th grade, I went and got my GED because I didn't think, I felt, and in fact, the GED proved me right. I felt that the school system was not educating me any more than I've already been educated by the world. And I proved that by going in the middle of 12th grade to get my GED. And I got it with, what was my percentile of overall grades? I was like, I don't remember what the percentile was. I just remember that it was above average science and social studies, um, average reading, slightly above math, average reading, and slightly below average English. Which to me was like damn good stuff because I didn't even think I was going to pass the GED on the first try. Um, so, and with the GED, I was kind of surprised that the military was going to accept me, but they were like, well, the GED just proves that you have a high school diploma. Um, what mattered the most was see if I can pronounce this properly, the ASVAB score, which is basically it's an aptitude test to see where your knowledge lies and what areas that you have your better knowledge, I guess you'd say. And then they use that score to determine if they can accept you, if you're smart enough to be accepted. And it also helps them determine where you would fit, what your skill set would work best in what field. And I was thinking, great, I'm gonna take this test, and either I'm gonna be some grunt, not putting down grunts, or I'm gonna be somebody in a service level. And what I mean by service level, because everybody in the military is at service, is like a cook or a mechanic or something most people in the military go, you're helping provide everybody else a service. But when they got the score back, they came to me and said, you've got the highest score we've seen in a long time," which I don't know if that's just a BS ploy or not. But anyhow, they're like, "What do you want to do for us?" And I just kind of went, "Huh?" And they're like, "You got such a high score that you can be anything and anybody in the military." And I just kind of went, "Oh." So basically, if I wanted to be a psyop, I could do that. And they're like, "Yeah." I just kind of went, "That sounds too complicated even for me." But my options were so open that I could have done anything. What did I end up choosing? Cook, food service specialist. That was in my interest. So that's what I originally went in for. Unfortunately, my career was short lived due to physical ailments that were unknown at the time, because even the medical examiners at the MEPS processing didn't even detect. Because I could do all the bending and twisting, and I wasn't flabby. I didn't have a gut. But I went in and did the basic training and was getting ready for advanced training. I was in my eighth week. Yeah, eighth week. Eighth week. Sixth. It was 6 or 8 weeks in. Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks into the training, and it was supposed to be a 9 week training course for basic training. When I injured myself, it was unexpected. It was a sudden shock, but it was enough of an injury that the military didn't want to take the chances of further injury and further damage to my body, so I got my walking papers. Wasn't exactly happy. So I at least tried. That's all I can say. Anybody who at least tries gets kudos for the effort because they tried to go in. I know plenty of guys who were in basic with me who got drummed out for a medical, one or two different medical conditions. One particular medical condition, I'm surprised he made it past MEPS, because he ended up having some sort of like heart problem or something like that. So maybe his situation was similar to mine, was unknown, was not discovered until after the fact. There were there was one other person I know about who got drummed out, and his drumming out was not medical, not a good reason. But everybody has their reasons for attempting to go to the military, and I, from my personal experiences plus my background, salute anybody who attempts to go into the military, gets through a couple weeks worth of basic training, but gets even if they get a general discharge or a medical discharge, I I give them kudos and I salute them for it because they attempted to do it. Um, so Oh boy. Like I said earlier, today's a bit of a rainy day. And sometimes on rainy days on Wednesday, I'm double checking because my brain just can't get the days. Wednesdays can sometimes be. It's one of those days that I say flip a coin. Because you don't know what it's going to be like. It could be. Yesterday was. Eh, it was busy, but it wasn't chaotic. Today, it could be dead, or it could be just a mild, average day. Not one of those days where it looks like everybody and their brother is trying to come in or get pizza or things like that. I chalked it up to do two different things. One is it's the week after Memorial Day, so a lot of people might have spent most of their money on going out picnicking or whatnot Memorial Day weekend. I caught a blurb on the news that the Missouri State governor may be putting in a mandatory quarantine because the cases here in Missouri have risen within the last week or two uh, because of the lifting of businesses being closed. That, in fact, the major contributing factor was nobody was wearing masks, and Memorial Day weekend nobody was following the social distancing aspect while at the various amusement parks that were open or the various pools and social gathering spots like Ozark Beach. Here in Rolla, we have what we call Fugitive Beach, which is a old mining spot that they basically turned into a pool, a swimming hole, whatever you want to call it. So, because of the spike in cases of COVID, Missouri State Governor may be doing a mandatory quarantine. Which, if that happens, yeah, it's going to be as bad, if not worse, than what it was before the lifting of closures. But don't hold me to that. It was just something I caught wind, read off of a St. Louis Dispatch or some local newspaper. I can't remember which. It was something I saw at work. That's all I can tell you. Um, Might have also been something I also cross reference with on the Missouri State Facebook page. But anyhow, it is what it is. I try my best to live with it, within it, around it, however you want to put it. Um, I just, I'm just hoping that between the, and I don't know if it's real news or fake news or whatever, however you want to put it, but there was talks about a second wave, and the epicenter was Brazil, and I just kind of went, what? And then of course this whole, I don't know if you guys seen or heard about this or not, but thankfully so far the only areas that have been affected by the murder bee or murder wasp or whatever the heck they're called, up in Washington State. But I talked about that, how there was a picture, um, and I don't know if these things were real or not, but this guy had his big old hand like mine, and he had four of these giant, ugly looking black wasp type things with these almost look like freaking inch long stingers sitting on his hand. I'm assuming they were all deceased because they sure weren't moving, and I would not want even one of these things on my hand. But these things were like about as big as his hand. I'm just like, yeah, I see one of those things. It's either going to be a baseball bat or a blowtorch. because I sure wouldn't want one of those things, let alone a nest of them, anywhere near my home. So just note that all my information about the murder bees or murder wasps or whatever they're called, and the information about a second wave coming out of Brazil, the information is three different resources. One is actual newspapers. Two is the CDC website itself, and three is there's well three well there's more than three, but three is like actual information with actual links to go read the stories from Facebook. And then I also like watch various news channels: NBC, ABC, CB, no CBN. No, what is that? New, not CNN. I don't like CNN. I don't know, but my mom watches most of those news channels, and she talks to me about it, and then I go look it up or try to watch the broadcast. So I get my information from a variety of sources, and most of them you can look at. You can look up yourself. You can look it up online. You can look it up on the CDC website. You can look it up on Facebook with links attached to it. Um, there is I can't remember the name of the group, but it's an independent news group on the web, and they're fact finders. They're people who look for the facts, not just what one person is saying or one news group, paper, whatever. They look up their facts, and I can't remember their name or the website because I came across them on Facebook and went to their webpage via Facebook. But anything and everything you read nowadays or hear nowadays, whether it's from me or some other random person or source or whatever, and I've done this for a long time. I'll look at the information, I'll take it with a grain of salt because I'm the type of person that either if I cannot find it myself or do not experience it myself or get involved somehow personally, it's a grain of salt. I'll read it, I'll double check it, I'll try to facts find it myself before I start talking about it. But even when I do that, I take it with a grain of salt because I don't know how much of it is fear mongering, trying to stir up whatever they're trying to stir up. Um, I will say this though about one thing. It happened to my wife, and I hope it does not happen with anybody else. Somehow, and I don't know how they would do this when our phones and our devices are mostly Apple, and Apple does not get hacked that easily. Somebody from an outside source hacked my wife's AOL account. Now, luckily, AOL caught it and froze it in the whole 9 yards and traced its source to Brazil. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people in Brazil, but because of this whole COVID pandemic, the possibility of a second wave, the whole 9 yards, where a lot of countries are either still closed down or monitoring their borders and whatnot. There are people who basically are locked in their homes, who are bored, who have no other outlets in life than to basically get onto their computers and see what kind of trouble that they can stir up or cause or however you want to put it. Now, I'm surprised that there was anything like that coming out of Brazil because I don't know much about Brazil. I don't know much about most of the South American countries. But it doesn't matter if it's Brazil, China, Japan, Korea, Oklahoma, you know, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. There are people out there who have computers or who have access to the internet and computers and are bored. And they try their skills or whatnot at hacking and just stuff like that. And that in fact there are most likely groups of people who hide out on what they call the dark web and teach other people how to do stuff like this. Just watch your accounts, watch your information, watch who has access to it. If you have a cell phone and you're out and about, do not. I repeat this because that's just how it happens. Do not connect to a public Wi-Fi system. If they're unsecure, which means they're easily hacked, they're easily gotten into. And if you connect to it, they can connect to you. So when you're out and about, turn your Wi-Fi off. I know when I leave the house, 9 times out of 10, either A, my phone will not connect to a public Wi-Fi unless I tell it to, or B, I just turn off my Wi-Fi. So just be mindful of that. That's going to be the end of it for today. Mostly because of the fact that it's just getting to be another long 40-minute session, which I don't know how I'm going to cut my sessions down to 15 minutes once I get monetized. Oh, that was the other thing I want to say. Before I do get off my soapbox, I'm going to have to say, oh, well, I want to, I don't have to. I have finally reached the 900 mark. In fact, this morning before I started doing this, I checked my YouTube. I'm at 901. So I'm getting up there. I'm getting up there. I've got about 99 to 100 more people that I need to be able to do live sessions, which would be awesome. I enjoy doing this. I really do. I do it for myself. I do it as a form of, I don't want to say a form of entertainment because that just doesn't sound right. But I do it for myself. I do it for those who want to listen. Maybe they'll learn something, pick up something. I'm going to open myself up. This is something I try to do once in a while attentively because sometimes it bites me in the rumpus. When I go to sign off, I'm gonna say what I'm opening myself up to. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or even ideas that go along the lines of some of the things I've either done or talked about for either discussion or just something to do. I know I've had a lot of people in the past talk about doing more Bible studies, and I'm going to actually switch Sundays from just a regular vlog to since right now Sundays I have my days off. I'm gonna switch that into a total just Bible thing on Sundays. Granted, I can do it any day of the week, but right now I don't know how open churches are, and there are still a lot of people out there who are self-quarantined or mandated to basically not leave. And no, I shouldn't say mandated. That's a bad word. Highly suggested. There we go. Highly suggested to stay in your homes unless you have to leave for essentials. Now I know there's a lot of really good speakers. Joel Osteen for one, who's a big time, got a big old center in Texas. But yeah, I'm gonna try to basically start gearing Sundays mostly for Bible studies. So that right there is one of the things I'm gonna try to do. I know some people have asked for more cooking, which I'm trying. Uh, but yeah, if you have any like suggestions of things that you want to see that I've already talked about or tried to do, go ahead and put that in the comment box. If you're new to my channel and you want to hear more of my insanity, um, I don't mean to say that I'm insane, but I'm a little off the trail. Um, Go ahead and hit that bell. YouTube will let you know when I put in a new video. And until next time, have a good day, be safe, God bless, and goodbye.